being 7 o'clock, I'm going to call the Halifax Conservation Commission meeting of September 24th to order. I need to make some announcements. We do have a Zoom, one of our members is on Zoom. Hopefully.
Well, it looks like she is.
I
I don't know if she has a volume.
We tested the volume. Just bear with us. Let me see if Caesar's. Just bear with me 1 second. Let me get the. Did you connect? Caesar's.
Hi, Kim, you there? Can you hear us, Kim?
Let's just give it another minute. Kim, are you there? Okay. I'm just going to continue. Unfortunately, we got some technical difficulties, so as soon as the other member gets on board, we'll have her chime in. This being the September 24th Conservation meeting, I want to announce first that this meeting is being taped and recorded by Area 58. It can be viewed on YouTube. I have 3 additional agenda items that I'm going to add. Number 1 is going to be 8 10th Avenue was mistaken in order of conditions. Number 2, we're going to acknowledge a letter from the Central Water District. 3, there's a training update under our discussion. First order of business is, unless we have the gentleman from the Stump Brook cleanup, I don't see. Okay, if we don't have them, first order of business is going to be 8 Hilda Lane. Mr. Webby. That's going to be DEP file number SE 1710574. Let's see. Ooh, let me apologize for 1 second. I need to make an announcement. I'm going to make it even though that she's not on yet. Where this is going to be a remote meeting, all of our votes will be taken by roll call. And if there's any technical difficulties, then the member that's in attendance remotely can make a decision as to whether they're going to remain. Okay, Mr. Webby.
Joe Webby, Webby Engineering, and we are here on the roadway that is known as Hilda Lane off of Hayward Street, and there were a couple of items that we had to take care of from the review of ecosystem, your review engineers, and I did a rivers front analysis, and we also are asking for a slight waiver to work within the 50-foot zone. And I do have a couple of handouts, if I may.
Unless they've been...
We sent these in electronically. I didn't know if you wanted to see them tonight or not.
Fine, we'll take them. As long as they've been into the office.
Yeah, it's just so we could see just the 2 areas that we're talking about.
This is the same area that we have on the plan.
Yeah, yes, the plans haven't changed. The first page shows the roughly 600 feet of work we will be doing between the 50, within the 50 foot of the buffer zone. And the second page shows the amount of area that we're going to be utilizing the riverfront area. And we've done a riverfront analysis, and that has been reviewed by Ecosystem, and that has been approved. So I believe that we've done everything the commission and your representatives have asked us to do.
Okay. I just got a couple of questions, and then I'm going to turn it over to the board. You filed a variance request
Yes, we
to
do.
work within the disturbance area. Okay. I think there's a minor amount of disturbance area.
I believe it's 650 feet.
Okay. There is no replication, so with I imagine there's going to be some possibility of some mitigation somewhere else on site.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. My other question is, on the riverfront area depicted on the second page in the drainage area, is that a wetlands area, or is that just the buffer zone?
That's all upland,
That's all uplands?
yes.
So the relief that you're requesting is in an upland area, it's just because of riverfront area?
That's correct, and it's also beyond your 50-foot of the BVW also. So we're working strictly within the 50 and the 100 feet from the BVW, and strictly within the 100 feet and the 200 feet of the riverfront area.
Okay. And based in the riverfront area, I did see that you did an analysis, and that analysis outlines any other scope of work or any other possibilities, am I correct, on site?
Yeah, that is the only work that we're proposing, yes, on the roadway,
Okay.
yes.
Any board members got a question at this point?
No, almost like.
No, I'm okay.
Okay, I'm going to open this up to the audience. Anybody that wants to speak, if there is anybody that wants to speak, you just need to come up to the microphone. Anybody want to speak on behalf of the roadway part? Okay. I don't have anything part of the record, but I did in fact receive some emails from Mrs. Bradford regarding this. So I have just one question. From map 20, lot 1H, can you possibly tell me the distance of where you're working versus that lot, Mr. Webby?
Is that Mrs. Bradford's lot?
Yes. You've got a 60 scale, so it looks to me to be...
If I may, this is Hilda Lane. The Bradfords live on the corner of Hilda Lane and Hayes.
Okay, so the distance between any proposed work is a couple of hundred feet?
Oh, easily.
Easily,
Yeah,
okay.
almost.
Okay. Does the board have any other questions?
Did the ecosystems fully review this?
Yes,
Fine.
Ecosystems did. There's a number of reviews on this particular parcel, because part of the reviews were integrated with some lot development. So I did receive a final review today, and basically, they were fine with the proposal. They wanted to just make note that this approval is only for the Hilda Lane roadway and associated drainage infrastructure. It does not include any approval of construction of driveway, houses, ancillary structures associated with Lot 2T and 4T depicted on the plan. Therefore, there's no wetlands crossing allowed. So, just go. Just, if you don't mind identifying yourself for the record. If you don't mind, this is being recorded, so.
My name is Hani Nasrallah.
And I'm Joyce Nasrallah. We both have a question, and I'd like to know if it's possible we could see the plan on the road itself. Is that available?
Absolutely.
And has the road been approved, or is this pending approval?
I'm going to defer that to the engineer. Mr. Webby? Let them look at the plan, and then you can answer that question.
the elevation on the roadway? The proposal to finish this or something?
Ms. Nasrallah, if you don't mind, come a little closer. Miss, yeah, if you don't mind coming closer to the speaker so that we have someone taking the minutes.
I think the question is, I'm not sure what the question is, but the road will be lower than their house.
That's what my question was. I didn't know, are you asking for an approved road plan at this time or just for a
We
waiver?
are asking for, no, we
You're
are
asking
asking
for-
for the
okay.
approval of the plan.
Can you show me the plan with the elevation on it? I just had the elevation. I saw this before, and I didn't see elevations on this one.
Yes,
I know.
yeah, there is no elevations on this, so you're correct. It was, elevations were submitted to the town
Yeah.
on another sheet. I don't have that sheet.
That's the most important one, I think, the
I
elevation.
don't have it.
I understand, but I mean, concerning her house, she owns it and I live in South Side, is that this is the most important one, I think, for the subdivision, because we have a lot of drainage issues. So we just wanted to know obviously you just said that the elevation is low.
The elevation is going to be, well, it is now. We're not,
Well, that's what I want to
we're
know.
going to put 4 inches of tile on the road.
Exactly.
And it's lower now. We're not
So
raising.
that's why I'd like to know the elevation between what she is at this point in the property to what it is on the actual top of EDR Road.
I don't have that information for you right now. I
Okay.
just didn't bring it with me.
No, I know, that's fine, but that's important to know the elevation, otherwise we've got a problem.
Ms. Nasrallah, if I may, in my reviewing of the plan, your house is the first one on the right.
Correct.
Okay, and it shows from the plan, the existing dwelling number 1, the front yard elevation is elevation 34.
Oh, which one are you looking at?
So there's a 34 contour there.
Does he have the same map as
Oh,
us?
there you go, yeah.
Yeah, okay, and then it shows that the road elevation is 33.
Is that the top of the road, top of the finished road? Top of finished road, correct? Okay, all right. Will it be grading? Because we know that 40 years ago, they didn't do much grading on this road. So her property where it grades right here, will they be helping grade that and when they put the road in, will they be feathering that in so her grading comes right up to the,
Yeah, we're not going to leave it alone.
okay, but just, that's why I want to know the elevation, just how they grade it. Make sure it's graded to the contour. Okay, that's fine. As long as you say that, I'll take your word on that. I didn't see a plan, but if you're willing to take his word, I certainly will.
Okay, yes, I mean, you were in the office a few months ago
Right.
when we
We didn't
reviewed,
have the plan at the time.
okay,
We still don't have it.
and I know that we had discussed the matter so that Mr. Nasrallah here wanted to make sure that no effluent.
Wait, the people can't be heard, so if you turn that mic around towards you,
Yeah,
just, yeah, flip it. Yeah, because it has to be recorded.
As opposed to the road and the home, so that the elevation obviously is contouring towards the road, not above.
Okay.
So,
yeah, and I just want to point out where this board is not in the position of approving the road. All we're approving is the work that's within the riverfront and the wetlands area.
okay, that's fine. Now, if you're approving that, let's say, what is the next step for you in order to get that? You have to go to planning?
Yeah, we've already submitted to the planning board. The planning board asked us to come here first.
Sure.
And now that we hopefully will get an approval tonight for work within 100 feet of the wetlands, then we will go back to the planning board.
And then you-
Yeah, and I believe that we have to come back for a stormwater permit.
That's correct.
That would be back here. So I don't know.
That'd be
which one
doing
of
both
those two-
ones.
Yeah, so once the planning board approves the roadway, then we'll look at it again for stormwater management to make sure all the contours are correct, to make sure there's no effluent. They have to keep and maintain all of their effluent in the roadway. So that would be the next step in the process.
That's fine. I mean, I know Honey and I would agree. She's mentioned only the only objection she would have was an elevation. He addressed that. And this is not a final meeting anyway for this. It's just a pending the.
To work in the wetland.
Yeah.
This just allows the
Step
work.
along the way.
Step along the way. That's fine. We totally agree with that. Thank you.
Do I hear any comments or concerns? Okay, hearing none, I am going to be looking for a motion to close the hearing for 8 Elva Lane roadway.
I put a motion that we close the hearing for 8 Eldon Lane roadway.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, I'm still going to hold a roll call vote. So, Ed?
Yes,
Ed's yes,
we're closing the hearing.
Alan's yes, Paul?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And having said that, we have closed the hearing process. The next step in the process is to issue the order of conditions. The Ecosystems has developed an order of conditions for us. I don't know that, hopefully everybody's got a chance to look at it.
I believe I did.
Okay, there's just some graphic errors in here that need to be changed, just meeting attendance and so forth, which I think we can do. I just want to outline again to those here that this is only to construct the roadway and the cul-de-sac and to work in the drainage area. So, the next motion that I would be looking for is if everybody's had a chance to review this order of conditions, there would be a standard order of conditions, and then this would be a special order of conditions. If we're comfortable, then I would be looking for a vote to accept these orders as presented with some minor spelling errors.
I put a motion that we accept the special orders of condition along with the standard order of conditions.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay. I'm going to go to roll call vote. Ed?
Yes.
Alan, yes? Paul?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Webby, we'll have to treat the order of conditions, and we should have them ready for next week. Okay. Next order of business is, unless we have the folks from, I guess we don't. Okay.
From 105, is that?
Yeah, we'll do 105. I was just hoping that the community preservation people would come in, but I haven't seen them. So our next order of business would be 105 Palmerville Road, DEP number SE 1710581. Mr. Webby.
I guess. Just minutes. Thanks.
Mr. Webby.
Joe Webby, Webby Engineering. This is 105 Palmerville Road. We've been before the commission a few times on this, where some work was prematurely done. Approximately 3,350 square feet of land between the BVW and the 50. Within your 50-foot was disturbed. With several meetings, we've come up with a planting plan of 10 blueberry bushes to be put in that area. And what we would also like to ask, we would like to request a waiver from your regulations to restore that area back to vegetated as per your enforcement order. But we would also like hopefully get an order of conditions to construct a single-family dwelling on the property.
Okay. Any questions from the board? We've discussed this on numerous occasions. Paul, you can take a look at the plan and see if you have any questions or concerns. This being the bordering vegetated wetlands. This is the area that was disturbed during the tree cutting process.
They cleaned it, yeah.
Correct. This is the 50-foot no touch zone. I believe this shows the plan shows the line where the fencing is going to go.
Correct.
And then there's going to be some signage every 50 feet, I believe.
Yep, right there.
Okay.
And proposed blueberry bushes.
So, Mr. Webby, I do have one question. The area has pretty much been overgrown. I don't know who's going to undertake the planning, so I'm assuming, well, let's say that we want to make sure that they don't disturb anything more than what they have to. I think in the order of conditions, there's either a pot size or caliper size for the vegetation that you're going to install.
Right, yeah, these will be blueberry bushes, high bush blueberry bushes that'll be approximately 3 feet tall. They will be planted and had mulch around each bush to protect the bush from invasive weeds. I think that if we're going to plant blueberries, then we ought to give them a shot to actually have blueberries.
Okay. On the fencing, it does show the fencing. In the special order of conditions, we'll be looking at that fence line to be posted every 50 feet with a no disturbance type sign based on the Conservation Commission.
No problem at all.
This dark line, I believe, is your proposed silt sock line?
Yes, the dark line between the fence and the beaver building would be a silt sock.
Yep, okay. Okay, I'll ask any board members if they've got any questions at this point.
I do not. I read the email from
You've read all the emails.
Ecosystem. Yeah.
Ed, do you have any?
I have no questions at this time.
Okay. I'm going to ask the audience, we're on 105 Palmer Mill Road, if anybody has any questions or concerns regarding this notice of intent. Okay. Seeing none, I am, oh, hold on. I'm sorry, Ms. King, you with us?
We can't hear him.
I don't do sign language, so I don't either.
Hopefully Caesar can fix the problem. I don't know where he is.
At the pitter patter of feet.
Should I go run and look for him?
Well, we're in the middle of this one. Why don't we finish this, and then we'll take a, she disappeared. She took a quick break.
Yeah, maybe Caesar.
Okay. Kim, can you hear us?
Well, we can't hear you. You're on mute?
Kim, are you muted? Okay, Kim, if you can hear us, we're going to finish this one up, and then we'll let you start in with the next one.
Because we can't hear you.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, we can hear you now. Okay,
Okay, yeah, I have no questions. I've been with you for a while.
Okay.
okay. Just for the record, it being 7:23, Ms. King is now on board with the commission. You heard everything on 105 Palmer Mill Road?
I did.
Okay, you have any questions or concerns?
I do not, Chairman.
Okay. And do you have anybody from the audience? I think I asked that. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to be looking for a vote to close the hearing on 105 Palmer Mill Road.
I put a motion that we close the hearing for 105 Palmer Hill Road.
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, hold on. So Ed made the motion. We're going to go to a roll call vote. We have a motion and a second. Ed?
Yes.
Alan, yes. Paul?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Before you go, Mr. Webby, I'm asking, now that we've closed the hearing, I'm going to ask that the board approve, I think I missed it on the other one, the variance request to allow the work within the 50-foot. I also want to discuss with the board, as part of the order of conditions, I think we should be looking for a bond to make sure that the area is completed as it was prior, and we don't leave that issue hanging on if the vegetation does not continue to grow. So I'd be looking for some input on what the
On the
board
bond, how much would that be?
My thoughts were $10,000. If the board has some other indications or inclinations, then I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure that the signal goes out that you can't go in and disturb wetlands and then just hope that it grows back. So if somebody's looking for a less amount, I'm okay with that.
Maybe I would be more comfortable cutting that in half to 5,000.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look for a vote on that, and then as part of the special order of conditions, we'll be looking for the 10 bushes, post and rail fence, the signage, and it appears to be a $5,000 bond. But let me go to a vote. Do you want to make that motion?
I put a motion that we approve with the special order of conditions and the variant conditions within the wetland area, and also with the bond of $5,000.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
I'll second it. Okay, I'm going to go to a roll call vote. Ed?
Yes.
Alan, yes. Paul?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Webber, just so you know, we do have the tentative order, so we'll get that over to you, and we should have it ready for the meeting next week. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay. Next order of business is 265 on Ponce Street, stormwater management hearing. The applicant has requested a continuance until October 8th. I would be looking for a motion to continue that.
I put a motion that we continue.
I'll make
Okay, go ahead, Kevin. You go.
a motion to continue 265 Monpont Street on behalf of the applicant until the October 8th, 2024 meeting.
Okay, second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. We're going to go to a roll call vote. Ed?
Yes.
Alan, yes?
Yes.
Paul, yes?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Okay. Next item on our agenda, and I don't see anybody, is the Stump Brook cleanup. Is that gentleman here?
Not yet.
Okay, so we'll just go over that. Our next order of business is 266 Montponce Street, Thorndike Management. It's on the stormwater management permit. I just want to bring the board up to date on that permit. In doing the research, we found that there isn't a good template for the stormwater findings. So we are working diligently on coming up with the findings on that. We don't need a continuance, but they requested it. I've spoken with them at length. We'll have some findings hopefully early next week. So why don't I look for a motion to continue that? And this continues is strictly on the special order of conditions.
I put a motion that we continue 266 Ponce Street.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, second, okay. I'm going to go to a roll call vote.
Yes.
Ed, yes? Alan, yes? Paul?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. Okay, moving right along. Next order of business is 111 River Street, DEP file number SE 1710584. This-
Good evening.
Good evening.
Susan Jason with Westman Sampson, here representing the applicant.
Okay. We did close this hearing, and it locked the variance request, which we did receive. So what I'm going to be looking for is a motion to allow the variance request from our local bylaw, also to give them a waiver to work within the riverfront area. We can't give you a variance, but I think we ought to give you the waiver. So based on that, I'll be looking for a motion to grant the variance request for River Street and a waiver to work within the riverfront area. So I'd be looking for that motion.
I put a motion for 111 River Street, notice of intent to grant variant request and...
In the waiver request.
In the waiver request.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I second.
All seconds? Okay. All right, we're going to go to a roll call vote. Ed?
Yes.
Alan, yes. Paul?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So the next piece of this puzzle is to vote the conditions. This has been going back and forth today. And did everyone get a chance to look at the order of conditions? It's very lengthy.
Yes.
I did, yes.
You did, okay. The only question that came in, you're
Yeah,
okay
I'm all
with
set,
that?
yeah.
The only question that came in later was when Ecosystems contacted you about some monitoring wells. I didn't go back to the original NOI, so was a monitoring well asked for in the original NOI?
It wasn't specifically, but we did discuss it with the commission during several meetings, requesting that it be included in that we are likely to need some. We don't know exactly where they would be placed, but they would be a follow-up assessment to any findings during this stage of the investigation.
Okay. Okay. I personally don't have a problem with the...
What we discussed is in that regard, that we would, communicate with the commission at a later date and provide you with additional information to where we where we plan to put those with some additional
Okay,
details.
that's fine. And you'll take whatever precaution, there's been no discussion on the wells as to fire, and I'm not going to really get into that tonight. The construction of the wells, your reporting and all of that, so you just have to follow that up with whoever's going to be administering this. If you had to record the wells for DEP, then that's part of your criteria.
It is.
I don't see a problem with the wells in itself. And if no one has any issues with the order of conditions, I did, just want to follow up that I did speak to Chief Chavs, and we've been in communication on the project safety plan. He had some revisions made to the project safety plan, and he's fine with it. I did not get a response from Chief Witham, but I'm assuming we're going to be okay with that. My only other question is, how are we making out with the 53G?
I can speak to the fire chief. I did receive
No.
comments.
No, the 53G is the funds.
Okay.
Because you want to get this started right away.
Yeah, I was going to say, he did provide comments and we addressed them, just so you know. We did forward the payments, if that's what you're asking. They should hopefully have been received by Peggy at your office today by overnight mail. I did provide an email copy of the checks that had been cut by our internal accounting department, and they were sent by overnight mail yesterday.
Okay, very good.
Hopefully they are in your hand at your office. I didn't call her to get confirmation today.
I do see some checks here.
Received today? Okay,
Yep.
so we're all set.
There should
So-
be two that were
Yeah, it's two of them, yeah.
the balance.
So, having said that, where we did close the hearing, we have an order of conditions. They did provide us with a safety plan. I still have a couple of concerns, but public safety people have to address that. I would be looking for a motion to accept the order of conditions prepared by Ecosystems. It's not dated, but it's the one that we have. When I make the motion. I would make a motion that we accept the order of conditions provided by Ecosystems. It came in today. Unfortunately, this is not dated, so I'm going to put in the 9/24
What is
date.
the
Yeah, 9/24 date.
Today's the 24th.
Yeah, the 9/24 date. We'll make sure this is dated. Did she get that ready? So let's go
Yeah,
to...
she's got this ready.
Okay, let's go to a vote. I'm going to look for a roll call vote to accept the order of conditions dated 9/24 from Ecosystems for Lot 111 River Street. I made the motion, so...
I'll second that motion.
Okay. We'll go to a roll call vote. Ed?
Yes.
Alan, yes? Paul?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Kim, I don't know how we're going to pull this off. If you want to come into the office and sign this, we've got majority here, but that's up to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just review it. Okay, you are all set. There's a procedure as far as the recording, so you can get a hold of the office tomorrow and figure out how you're going to get it recorded.
Okay, but it will be ready for pickup
Yep.
or...
It's ready now, but you have to work that out with Peggy. There's something about whether you pick it up personally or she sends it certified mail.
I think it starts the timeline, yes, I'll
Yep.
talk with her tomorrow.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do- Is anybody here yet on the Stump Brook cleanup? Do we have all the parties? Good evening, sir. My plan was to take you first to get you out, but, okay.
good.
So identify yourself for the record, please.
Sure, good evening. I'm Brad Chase. I work for the Massachusetts Division of Marine Fisheries. As a fish biologist, I'm here tonight to present the Stump Brook Stream Maintenance Plan to assist diatoms fish passage in the brook. It's a plan which I think you've received and reviewed. It's the process in which we allow this activity to happen. It's fish need to come from the ocean to their spawning habitats, so it's a very old practice of looking out for these fish, looking for tree falls, debris jams, excessive vegetation growth, and removing it under the Wetlands Protection Act. So DEP has a policy, it's only been out for 2 years, that allows this to happen. It requires Conservation Commission review. Commissions can condition it, particularly if they have bylaws that are applicable, but the policy is designed to make it easy to have this work occur under a DMF-approved stream maintenance plan, which I have presented to you. This is, I think, the 14th we've prepared in the last 8 years, and typically Conservation Commissions want to know what's going to happen. Sometimes they condition these to have notification of activity. Sometimes they'd like to see reporting, annual reporting, or every certain number of years reporting on what happens. In this case, we would like to work with the Alewife Restoration Committee locally, and any of the volunteers who would like to work with us and train these folks to do the work, and then eventually the work would just be done locally. It's going to be required, I think, annually to have folks get out there, take a look for winter tree falls, and allow the passageway to be open for these migratory fish.
Okay, I've got a couple of questions. You're going to be going, I'm going to go backwards. You're going to be going from the bridge at Elm Street back to the dam.
Yes, so that, yeah, Elm Street and Furnace Street, the first section goes from those two culverts back to the Stump Brook Bog Reservoir downstream. And that location is pretty much, it's fairly open now. There are 3 segments. The first one is from Stump Brook Bog Reservoir up to Furnace Street and Elm Street. The second section is upstream from that, which goes to the Great Cedar Swamp. That's an extensive area that needs a lot of attention.
Okay, just so that I got my bearings, because I don't. If you're going on Elm Street and you've got, standing at the bridge.
Yep.
All right? The dam is off to your right. All right? And then your furnace, that's a reservoir that's on the left. And then that's a reservoir owned by the state. And then,
Yep.
and then beyond that,
Upstream.
Yep. Is going to be the,
That's the main section that needs work, that extends all the way up to the Stump Brook Dam that's owned by the city of Brockton. And that's their regulatory dam for managing the water supply. That section, Elm Street to there's a lot of wilderness, there's a lot of places that people haven't paid attention because river herring couldn't get to Elm Street until a fishway was installed last year at the Stump Brook Bog Reservoir. So that's why we're interested in this, because now these migratory fish have a chance to reach these locations.
okay. So from the brook, from the roadway up to where Brockton controls the water, that's all privately owned, or a lot of it's privately owned.
A lot of the adjacent land is. The river is Commonwealth property, it's Commonwealth waterway. Much of the property is private.
Okay. So you're going to have to deal with that. I know on the opposite side, that is owned by the Commonwealth.
Yes.
Because they got that from the Cranberry Associates or...
Right. Public access is one issue about this where we'll work with private property owners. Volunteers can't just go through private property, obviously. Our agency has the authority to maintain passage for these fish. So we'll go to private properties if we need access to private properties and talk to them and say, do you mind if this group comes through? So that's a process, and we'll definitely respect private property ownership and talk to folks. But the river itself is Commonwealth property. It's regulated by the Conservation Commission. The Commonwealth has an interest in keeping that open for fish passage. So we have some authorizations to go out and do the work. We just have to clear it locally with the Conservation Commission, and then if we have to access through private property, we have to talk to private property owners.
Have you thought much about where the debris is going to go?
We like to put it right in the bank. We like to not remove it far from the river. It can serve as habitat for different types of wildlife. So we like to only take as much as necessary to allow fish to pass. So I think years ago people would overcut, they'd cut the bank, they'd cut the canopy. We like to just remove enough to allow the migratory fish to move upstream. And so that means we're placing root balls, we're placing tree falls on the bank.
So there's no dredging?
No, it's almost entirely handwork. If there were to be a serious tree fall, then we might use a chainsaw. Otherwise, it's manual labor. Clippers, hand saws. It applies to the Wetlands Protection Act, absolutely, but at the same time, it's kind of a time-honored practice that people have done for many years to allow these fish to come up. It's a bit of a gray area how it fits into the Wetlands Protection Act now. That's where the DEP policy comes in that says this is a good thing, it should happen, but you still must check off with conservation commissions.
Okay. Approximate distance from the dam to Elm Street, is that about 3/4 of a mile? I've been on either end, I don't know what the distance is between.
So the Stump Brook, the Brockton Dam?
Correct.
Yeah, so let's see, it's listed here as 2 kilometers.
Okay.
So what's that, about 1.2 miles? It's a big area.
Yeah.
It's one of the, I think, more extensive challenges we've seen for stream maintenance, because no one's been looking at this for a long time. A few locals go up there, but when the river herring were not present, there wasn't a strong incentive to go up there and open things up. So I propose that we go out October through November, train up the Alewife Restoration Committee, work with them, and establish a plan, and then eventually let them do the work on their own. But the DP and this plan requires that we start off with my staff training the local volunteers.
Okay. Any questions, Ed?
When they start the project, maybe they can notify us and we can somewhat make a public announcement, so we might have more volunteers.
They're going to have to do a notice of intent. They'll have to do a filing. I'm assuming. You're going to have to do a filing.
No, the whole idea of the policy is to allow this work to happen with no permitting. It's considered very minor activity in the Wetlands Protection Act. It's considered essential activity because one of the resources the Act is protecting is these migratory fish. So there is no notice of intent. If you wish to have notification, I can include that in the plan.
Yeah.
If you guys wish to have reporting of some frequency, we can include that. If you have bylaws that are beyond the Wetlands Protection Act, that could be included in the plan as well, but that's the whole idea of the policy.
I think the reporting is essential, but we do have a bylaw. I don't think it's applicable here. We've got a 50-foot no disturb zone, but
Right.
I don't think that
Yep.
applies, because you're actually in the river.
In the resource area. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think that would be applied. So I don't think any of our local bylaws
Okay.
would interfere with your project at all.
Okay.
Right. I think the reporting is essential,
Okay.
just so we know what's going on, where it went.
Yeah. Well, what I can do is put, this is a draft that you have. I'll include in a final form, if you do choose to support it, a requirement for reporting when we start, before we go out, as well as annual reporting on what we did.
Paul, any questions?
No, it's a great idea.
Kim, any questions?
I don't have any questions, just a comment. I think that the cleanup of Stone Brook would be not only beneficial to the wildlife, but also for public and environmental health. And I agree, it's been a neglected area for a really long time.
I agree. I've been on both ends of it, so. So what do you need from us?
Well, the policy doesn't require a permit application. It actually doesn't require approval by the Conservation Commission, although I would encourage approval tonight so that you guys have that buy-in. I would include in the plan that you approved it tonight, and that would include the conditions which you've just asked for. And then I would deliver a final copy to you and then give you notification when we start in October. So it's a little bit different because it's not a permit application, but DEP recognized that there was kind of an uncertainty in the Wetlands Protection Act for this type of work, and so they developed that policy that makes it easy for this work to happen. It just has to happen within a Division of Marine Fisheries stream maintenance plan. Local volunteers couldn't do this on their own without an application.
Just give me a minute if you don't mind. Okay, we have no members from the board. Any members from the audience have any questions, concerns? Okay, seeing none.
I just had a curiosity question.
Hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ms. King.
Yeah, I have one question. I understand their policy, they don't need the application, but will they need a waiver due to the Riverfront Act, even though they're in the river and not just the 50-foot?
DEP decided that that would not be required under the Wetlands Protection Act, and so they obviously were silent on bylaws. So but this was designed by DEP to allow this activity to occur under the stewardship of the Division of Marine Fisheries without additional permitting requirements. So DEP, the policy does not address the Riverfront Act, but at the same time, it's work that's occurring within the resource area, so obviously within the Riverfront area too.
Correct. The other thing too, I guess the way I'd look at this is they're strictly going in and cleaning the debris. They're not dredging. There might be some soil disturbance, not enough, I think, to impact anything. I think we should be looking at these websites, but I think you've got a long process. I personally don't have a problem with what they want to do. If any of the board members does.
I think we have a question from the audience.
The speaker?
Amy Troop, 10 Hillside Ave. I just have a curiosity question for Brad. So where does it start, and does it go under Elm Street and then into and then under Furnace, is that where the river goes?
Yes, there's 3 segments identified here. The first one is from Stumpbrook Water Reservoir up to Furnace,
Okay,
and that is pre-open right now. Then from Elm upstream to the Stumpbrook Dam owned by the city of Brockton.
Okay.
That's that long stretch, great swamp, water work is needed there.
okay.
And the third stretch is above the Stumpbrook Dam, which leads into Montponset. That's fairly open right now.
And that's all river?
Yeah. that's
Okay.
all Stumpbrook.
Underneath Elm Street, all the way under Furnace?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Incidentally,
All river?
a project right now in the town of Halifax to try to look at those 2 culverts to consider replacing or improving them. So the Division of Marine Fisheries received a grant with the town of Halifax.
You know, Mike.
And so we're going to proceed next month to look at those 2 culverts to consider replacing those. So it's independent of this. That would certainly be a notice of intent, but it's really a feasibility study to look at replacing those 2 culverts in the interest of improving water flow and fish passage.
Okay. What's a little confusing is when you say the Stumpbrook Dam, that's known to me as Burridge.
Yeah.
So that's why you had me confused. So basically, you're going to go from the Burridge Dam down to Elm Street.
Yes.
Then the water body that's on the other side of Elm Street is owned by the state.
Right.
And then the rest is whatever. Okay.
Yeah, that's the local names. I don't always.
Yeah, if you said Burridge, then I think a lot of us would have said, because we know where the Burridge Bog is and
Yep.
and the dam. So.
Okay. I can actually.
Go ahead.
Just put a motion forward. Should we put a motion forward? Or?
Yeah, you can. You want to? Yep.
I put a motion forward that we
Support.
support Stubbrook cleanup project with the orders and condition, like reporting it.
Basically, it wouldn't be an order of conditions. He's going to provide us with the necessary information.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. So we have a motion. I just want to get that to, okay. With new information.
I'll second.
Okay. So Ed made the motion. Give him a second. I'm going to go to a roll call vote.
Yes.
Ed? Yes. Ellen, yes.
Yes.
Paul, yes. Kim?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, you're all set. So just make sure you're going to do all the reporting.
Yep. I'll send you a finalized stream maintenance plan, and then we'll let you know before we get out into the field.
Okay.
Probably
You talk about annual maintenance. You're really going to go in there from October to
November, sometime.
November, so
This highlights October to mid-December as the preferred period, but it also highlights the need to inspect the sites at different times to make sure there wasn't things that were missed. So there'll be some inspection period, but most of the work will happen when it's not too hot, the leaves are down, the bugs are down. And so mid-October to mid-December is the...
we're just looking at the reporting aspect of it.
Yeah.
You can just keep, this office in the loop is what's
Yeah.
going on. And then obviously you're going to get a butter permission. That's up to you guys.
Yes, okay. Very good, thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
your
you.
time. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope Halifax. Ms. Niven? We actually come out looking for you earlier. I was going to get you in before we had our hearings, but you disappeared.
Oh, I was here early.
Yes.
Just at 8 o'clock.
The hearings went quick, but were you okay? Okay. Just for the record, we're speaking to the speaker because you're on tape. Just identify yourself for the record.
I'm Candy Niffen. I'm chairman of the Ballot Support Committee for the Community Preservation Act. And I just came tonight, I wanted to give you a little bit of information about who we are. Last spring, the town meeting voted to put the Community Preservation Act on the ballot, and so it's question 6 on the ballot in November. And after that happened, a group of us realized how little people knew about the Community Protection Act, which has been in effect since 2000. So for 24 years, towns have been raising money and receiving money from the state for community preservation. And so we decided that we would form this ballot committee for 2 primary reasons. One, to get information out. And we've tried to do that. We've posted on Facebook. We have a website that we've established. Everything that we've posted or written is on our website. We've posted and have profiles from neighboring communities, all of whom are CPA communities. Halifax, East Bridgewater, which also has this on their ballot in November. Brockton and Avon are the only towns that have not enrolled in the CPA. And the way we look at it is for 24 years, we've left that money lying on the table from the state. But the CPA money, the CPA is designed, it's not a tax, it's an assessment on top of our taxes. And the way it works is your tax bill won't change. Your tax bill is your tax bill, and whatever it is, that's what the tax bill is going to be. But the CPA is figured that you get $100,000, everyone gets a $100,000 abatement on the value of their home. And then the ballot question is asking for 1.5% for CPA. Without going through all the procedure, that comes to, right now, that comes to, we have our new tax rate and we have our new average home valuation. So it comes to $88 a person per year in two installments of $44 for the average homeowner in town. The abatements, anyone who falls into the category of low income or moderate income senior, they don't pay that assessment. And what happens to that money is 10% of the money we take in each year, locally and from the state, it has to go into 3 buckets. 10% has to go into historical preservation, 10% into historical preservation, I'm split. 10% into open space and recreation, and 10% into housing. You don't have to spend any of this money any year, and then the other 70% can go into any of those areas that we choose. You don't have to spend any of this money in any given time. It can accumulate, it will gain interest, but what it does is it allows us to address projects that need to be done, such as, for example, under historical preservation, the blacksmith shop that we all know about. We have this lovely historical district. We can't go in the blacksmith shop because it's structurally unsound. We could address that with CPA money. When we would be able to address that with local funding, it would come out of the budget, and we don't know when that would ever happen. Another thing that we can do with CPA money is recreation, many towns have established walking trails. They've purchased land for open space. For example, if we wanted to, we could purchase land to protect an aquifer, to protect just environmental protection, and we can decide as a community, all the money that gets spent from this account has to be voted at town meeting. There's no separate committee that decides. There is a community preservation committee that has to be established after this passes, and they would come to town meeting with recommendations for expenditures, but town meeting has the final say on any money that is spent. What else can I tell you about it? Our committee is actually made up of 9 people. All of us have lived in town, raised our children in Halifax. They've all attended the Halifax and Silver Lake schools. All of us have served on various committees, some still do, through our years in Halifax. We're all just people who thought, why haven't we already done this? And we've decided to take it on as something that we could hopefully educate the community on and get them to sign on, so that we can start doing things that we aren't able to do, and we don't know when we'll be able to do some of them. The playground is a classic example of something that we could have done had we joined community preservation 24 years ago. Instead, we fundraised for 6 years for that playground. However, If a piece of equipment were to break and needed to be replaced, we could use community preservation funds for that. Plimpton just put lights on their soccer fields. We could do that with community preservation money. There are so many things that need to be done in town that we could start to address. As far as housing, it doesn't have to be 3-story buildings that we choose not to have. There's so many opportunities with housing. Some towns have actually hired a housing coordinator or a housing director to just study the needs of the town, determine what they need for housing, what kind of units they need, make recommendations. Another thing that we don't have in town is an up-to-date master plan. Without an up-to-date master plan, we're pretty much at the mercy of these coffee shops and pizza shops and whoever wants to come in. Our latest information is that we could fund a master plan with community preservation funds. So I don't want to take a lot of your time. I would direct you, if you have any questions, to our website, which has everything on it. We've been posting on Facebook. We've done a presentation. We have 2 more presentations scheduled. But our website has everything that we've done on it, and that's halifaxmahope.org. And I'm going to give you some material that has that in it tonight. But we would urge you to look. Conservation Commission could, should, and would probably play a major role if this law passes. And so we would really appreciate it if you would discuss it. You don't have to do that tonight, but we would appreciate your support in passing this article if you agree with us that it's worth our time and money. Open space is a huge part of it, and if we had money and we didn't want the construction on Route 58, the condos that are going in, that land was vacant for a long time. We could have bought that land and protected it as open space, or we could have decided what to do with that land, but we don't have any money to do that sort of thing. So that's where this act steps in, and it's short money for a lot of good things. And the abatements, are pretty generous, and so we hope you will consider supporting it. We'd love if you would vote to support it and let us know. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer any questions you might have. But I also want to read with you. We have put together, in addition to the other things, brochures, and we have some other handouts. So I'm going to just leave these for you.
Okay.
And
Do you mind taking just a few questions?
not at all.
Okay.
This is from the law. It was applied for.
Okay.
No, I don't mind taking questions.
Okay. Do we have any questions from the board? I'm familiar with community preservation only because the property in Hanson and we've had it for years.
A couple questions. Say the 10% of the housing. You don't have to spend it every year. You can hold on to it and never spend it. And if you vote upon a town to, whatever happens with the town, we'll have to approve it?
Absolutely. You don't have to, there's no pressure ever to spend any of this money. Obviously, we have a lot of needs, and I'm sure we will spend it, but it can sit there and collect interest until we have a project that the town, everyone agrees we need to go forward with. And that's what the Community Preservation Committee would study and make recommendations on, but none of it requires that it be spent in a given year.
Yes, Ms. King.
Following up, I have a second question off of that. I'm familiar with it also from Hanson and multiple other town projects. But I'm curious about the rollover. I understand the money can't be spent, but how long do you have for the monies that are unspent to be rolled over into the next year's budget?
Okay.
Do you want, is there a term how long you can hold on to the money and not spend it?
What you said, what you wanted to know was, once this money gets into the fund, and I might be able to answer that for you. Once the money gets into the fund, it's only expended by town meeting vote. So there's there's going to be a carryover balance every year. I don't think the intent of the committee would be, if there's 100,000 in there, to spend 99. So
Oh, no.
you're going to have to come up with a good project. So it's not really a budget, it's a fund, and that fund would keep rolling over until I think initially, it'd probably be a few years before you develop enough to do any major projects, and then go from there. But it's not a budget, it's a fund.
There's no time limit.
Incorrect word, but even with the fund with rollover and state monies, often they either penalize the towns for not spending or rolling it over after so long, or they decrease the amount that the towns can get. I'm just curious if we know what the details are on anything rolled over.
I'll clarify that unless you understand it completely.
Well, what I would say is that this is state legislation, and there is nothing that requires the funds to be spent in any given period of time or in any given amount other than allocating it to those areas, 10% a year, and the other 70% can go to any one of those areas. But there's no time limit, no time frame, and every city and town gets the same percentage of a state match every year in the first round of funding. I hope that helps.
So I think what she's saying is that there's the 10% that if this is passed, that the town will get. The state doesn't require that to be spent. That's going to stay in the fund until the town itself decides to spend it. So that you're going to accumulate that 10% each and every year. I don't know what the matching funds are, but I know that there is the 10. And just to clarify, you're saying 10%. 10% is that the minimum?
Yes.
That's the minimum.
That's the
that you can do.
requirement.
So you don't necessarily have to spend.
You don't
spend
necessarily
12%.
have to spend anything in any given year, but you have to allocate 10% of whatever money you take in to each of those three areas, and the other 70% to whatever in those three areas you want.
So I think what she's saying is that when this comes out of town meeting funding, that they're going to have multiple projects, some to meet the 10% goal, and the balance would be utilized for whatever else the committee decides.
Right, they could. The other thing I will say is, it's very feasible that we could accomplish some projects as quickly as the first year.
Like the blacksmith shop?
Yeah, exactly. Looking at that, the
I know they-
blacksmith shop, probably the tennis court, if the town agrees. I mean, I keep bringing up the tennis court down by the school because I think of it as a liability issue. It's in such terrible shape, but it could be reconstructed, and it could be a new tennis court or pickleball court or both. So there are projects that have been identified, but there's a lot. If this passes, there's still a lot of work. The committee, the Board of Selectmen would have to go, and they would have to establish a bylaw which establishes the Community Preservation Committee, and that bylaw will be voted on at the next annual town meeting, May 2025. And then they would put together a committee, and then the committee would need some time to study the expectations and what their job is and what the limits are and what the possibilities are. And then they would accept, eventually, they would accept applications which they would review and make recommendations on. So the first, they would accept the bylaw. So the first distribution would be the following November, and then the first vote of expenditures would be the next annual town meeting. So it's a process that we need to do going forward, and it's work. But the first step was getting it at town meeting voted, and the second step is getting it on the ballot, and we're looking forward to the third step of developing the bylaw and making this happen for us.
Okay, just a point of clarification.
Sure.
You had mentioned $88 per person.
Oh, that's what the average assessment would be on the average tax bill in
It's
Halifax.
not per person, per household.
Oh, did I say person? I
Yeah,
meant
okay,
household.
that's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
Per tax bill.
Yeah, per tax bill. Okay,
Right.
with all the deduction, with a, you know, the...
Exactly.
Okay. Any other questions from the board at this point?
I think it would be beneficial, especially where Parks and Recreation was in front of us recently, and they have a lot of projects that would fall into the approved allocation of monies, and I think that if we did a town meeting pass and go forward and everything went well, that the CPA committee and Parks and Recreation would both very much benefit from having it passed.
Yeah, I would agree. Halifax really doesn't have a lot of open space. I mean, there is some land that's under the jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission that I don't think anybody knows.
Yeah.
We don't have a parking area for people to walk through the woods. There's no dog walking trails.
But we could create some of
Yes,
that.
you
We could also, I will mention that I believe the number is 400, but there's a number of dog parks that have been built with CPA funding since it was enacted too. So we could create our own dog park and not have to take our dogs to Kingston if that's what the townspeople wanted and we had a place to do that.
Yeah, it's probably more the open space that you know, the town should be looking at.
I agree.
In one project, like I mentioned, I mean, that was available to the town years ago, and there was no money.
Right.
So,
Right.
any other questions of the board?
No, I'm good, yep.
I'm fine.
Okay. I don't know, is the board comfortable with making some sort of a vote to,
You don't, I mean, I'm not asking you to do that right now.
okay, fine. If you want us to study it and get back to you, we'll...
Whatever you're comfortable with. I just was saying that we would appreciate your support.
Okay. Ms. King?
I'd be willing and comfortable to put a motion in to support them in town meeting as a conservation commission.
Okay.
Do we have any questions for the audience? We haven't asked anybody. Or is this just a presentation?
It's a presentation, but if anybody's in the audience has got anything to say, I don't have a problem with that. Yes?
Amy Troop, 10 Hillside Ave. What would be the total amount at the 1.5% that the town would be assessed to fund?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So you get like the total, if you assessed so you assess or surcharge or whatever word you want to use, each household in the town, each commercial property too, how much would the total be? Or contributions from the state?
Before, we don't have a firm figure on that, but it was early on, and it actually would be a little bit more. It was 222,000 at the local level that we would bring in. I'm not going to say that's a firm figure now because the tax rate changed, the average home price changed, so I can't really give you a clean figure that you could throw back at me because I don't know.
Okay, I think you have somewhere around 2,500 homes in town, somewhere in that vicinity. And if you're looking at $88 to $100 per household, yeah, that number we would know. The assessment
That's
on
what the
commercial,
assessor's
I
office.
think, I've always paid it on residential, so I'm not sure. There is an assessment on commercial.
It's the same, yeah.
It's the same.
Same rate.
Okay. I don't, there is on vacant land too, so
Yeah.
I don't know if she's answered your question.
Well, it's giving me an idea, so
Okay, do you
then,
want, just come to the mic.
so then basically 10% of that would be for housing, or so you should choose. So I'm just curious what kind of things that you'd be able to do with housing with that little bit of money when a house costs more than that to begin with.
It would be not just 10% of that, but it would be 10% of the total funds, which includes whatever we receive from the state, whatever the state match is. But also, like I said, you don't have to do anything the first year. You can accumulate it. If we put 10% in and then decide that we have a housing project, but we don't have enough money, we can put part or all of the other 70% in. We can also, and we haven't even brought this out because it's confusing, but we can also borrow on anticipated funds. I don't see that happening, certainly not in the short term, but there are a lot of options to do a lot of different projects. And they don't have to be 3-story apartment buildings.
So specific to housing, the 10%, and I understand, I think what she's trying to say, the town's not in a position that's going to build houses. The town might be able to, with some of those funds, buy some additional houses that are under the housing authority, or they might be able to renovate some of those structures, or they might be able to add on to some of those structures. I think that's where that 10%, you need to put 10% out there. You're not necessarily building houses with this 10%.
No, there are a lot of different things you can do, but the accumulating is an important factor. There are a number of different things. We could hire a housing director to help us figure out what we need to do. We could buy an abandoned building that might be sitting in town and renovate it for apartments. Affordable housing. We can buy an affordable housing home that comes on the market and keep it as an affordable housing home. There's quite a bit we can do. We can also leverage that money. If we have an opportunity to get a grant, and there are a lot of grants out there, state and federal, many of them require matching funds. We can use CPA money for our matching funds. We can take that, matching funds, to get a grant. And actually, Plymouth, the town of Plymouth, has done that a lot to the point where they've had projects that have cost the town almost nothing because of the grants they were able to get. So I think getting it in is the next step, and then there's a lot of studying that the committee will need to do and figure out what's best. And one of the things that the committee is charged with is looking at the community and determining not just our needs, but our abilities to pay. So I think it's just a matter of work, research, and learning about it while we're also taking in funding so that we can do something when we're ready.
Okay. That answer your question, Ms. Troop?
That part of it, yeah.
Okay. I have a motion on the floor, so.
Yeah, no, I just want to ask a couple of more questions. What is the committee's view on MBTA 3A housing?
Ms. Troop,
I just want to...
MBTA housing has nothing to do with CPA funds.
Well, no, it really does.
No.
It's a question that I have.
This is clearly premature. I wouldn't expect her here for CPA funds to address any MBTA housing situations.
I was wondering what our view is on it as a committee.
I have a motion on the floor, so I gave you some discretion to ask the question. So that's not appropriate. So if you have anything else that's relative to that, then that's fine. Otherwise, I'm going to go to my vote.
I can send it to her, but we can't ask questions online. And I'm asking the question now, so I think in the view of transparency.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Ms. King, we have a motion.
I do, but I'm concerned about Ms. Troop's continued behavior between you two. And the last meeting, I told her that we could have her removed.
I don't think we have to go that far, Kim.
Ms. King, hold on. That's not appropriate. You made a motion, and I'm going to be looking for a second, and we'll address that afterwards. So, just to reiterate, your motion would be to support the Hope for Halifax, I get that right, endeavors as far as the CPA.
Absolutely. I think it's a fantastic idea for the town and all overdue.
Okay, good. We have a motion. Does anybody want to second that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion by Ms. King, second by Mr. Doucette. I'm going to go to a voice vote. Ed?
90% of this I agree with, the 10% I don't, but 90% is very high percent. I'm going to vote yes on it.
Okay. Alan Diaz votes yes. Paul?
Yes.
Yes. Ms. King?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. If you'd like, we can get something drafted up, or if you'd prefer, when it comes up to town meeting, then we would be more than happy. I would ask the chair, who was going to do that,
The next thing is ballot, actually, before town meeting. So I would just appreciate the opportunity to say that we have, that you took a vote and that we have the support of the Conservation Commission, and there's some others. I don't think you have to write anything up, but if you'd like to,
Okay.
we'll take it.
Okay. Very good.
All right, thank
Okay.
you. I just want to remind everyone too, if it's okay, that we, from day one, have had an email address where people can send their questions. So if you have additional questions or anyone else has questions,
Okay. You can provide that to Ms. Troop and...
we
if you
have.
want. Okay.
We have, and
Okay.
we answer them and we post the answers, so.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you so much for
Okay.
your time.
Thank you.
And your support.
Next item on the agenda is 285 Holmes Street, an update on that. The planning board held a hearing on that, and they needed some additional information. The applicant has requested a continuance from us until, I think, October 8th. So I'd be looking for a motion to continue this until October 8th. 285 Holmes is the stormwater management
Okay, yeah.
issue that it's not, we haven't addressed it yet, only because it hasn't met all the criteria. So
Okay, yeah, I'll put a motion that we
motion to continue.
continue 285 Home Street.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Paul seconds it. Okay, Paul. Okay. We'll go to a voice vote. Ed?
Yes.
Alan, yes. Paul?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm sorry. Ms. Chu? Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Lot 11, Palmer Mill Road. We had discussed this. This is the enforcement order that was placed on this particular lot because of the clearing. We decided to table it from last week. I don't have any other information other than the fact that the owner has not responded at all. So I think the course of action that the board has is whether we attempt to issue 21D or refer it to council. So I'm looking for a little direction as to what the board wants to do with this. Ms. King, I think you're familiar with this, right?
I'm still there, and I'm aware.
Okay, good. Anybody got any ideas?
I'm sorry, refresh my memory on
Okay,
11
this
Palmer
is
Mill?
this
What
is
the-
next to the lot was 105. They cleared not
Oh,
only...
okay.
They cleared both of the lots. I think this one has got more clearing on it than the other lot. They did file a notice of intent for the other one. We did, in fact, had the sheriff deliver a notice of intent to the applicant, or to the owner of the property, excuse me, the enforcement order. No response. We sent an additional letter, which I think is in the file. Sent it both certified mail and first-class mail. We have no response. So we're gonna need a little direction as to where you want to go with this.
I'm very,
Correct me if
yeah, I'm good.
Correct me if both lots are owned by the same individual, correct?
That's correct.
Would Mr. Weddy be able, not that I want to put trail in the middle, but would he be able to assist with the second lot to help with enforcement and come up with a plan before we start spending town money on town council and trying to collect fines that could potentially not be paid and avoid a large cost?
I can't, there's nothing, we can't go to Mr. Webby and ask him.
No.
Our responsibility, our only responsibility is to put the applicant or the owner on notice that he violated the Wetlands Protection Act and hope he brings it into compliance. That we've done with no response. I personally don't like the idea of town council, but we just need some direction as to what you want to do with.
Yeah, I'm kind of puzzled by this because he was just in for 105 Palmer and he's restoring the disturbed area he just did. Why didn't he?
Why don't we respond?
Yeah, I don't know.
I have not been in communication with him. I haven't spoken with him, so it's going to have to be a board decision which way to go. I've sent out 2 letters.
What would we want to start the fine at?
Under 21D, it would have to be $300 per day. And it would be, if the board's so inclined, 5 days, 10 days, see if we get some response.
I think we should talk to council briefly, brief meeting, so it doesn't cost as much, and see what he believes what we should go forward with, then go forward with what council recommends.
Okay. What I'm going to ask, we're going to get into council. I'm going to be using council. Would the board prefer that we, I don't know about speaking to him. I'd rather do it in writing. If the board's okay with that, I would provide him with the enforcement order, all the communications, and ask for some direction. I don't think I really need to speak with him.
Okay.
He'll look at the records and say, okay, this is what you need to do. If that's what the board wants to do.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, yeah.
Okay. So why don't I get a motion to ask for the permission to use town council for this particular matter also?
Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah, I'd be more comfortable with a motion in a second.
Mr. Chair, before we put a motion on the table, if town council says it's good to go and his recommendation is the 21D, can we vote tonight that if that is what town council recommends, to give you the authority and the vote's already there, that instead of waiting another 2 weeks to address it, that when you do get the clarification from town council, that it can just be sent out?
You can include that in your motion, but I honestly don't think I'm going to have an answer in 2 weeks. I have another matter which we'll discuss that we're going to use council potentially on, and I have preliminary permission to do that. I think that if the choice is to go to council, then whatever he decides, then we would do right away. I don't think I would need to have a vote to come back. We would just institute it right away and go from there.
Okay.
So, does someone make a motion?
You want to make that motion now? No.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we request the use of town council for the enforcement order issue 111 Palmer Mill Road.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'm going to go to a roll call. Ed?
Yes.
Alan, yes. Paul?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. 340 Home Street, 340 Plymouth Street. Just an update on that. I spoke with Highway today. Weather permitting, they are going to start the beginning of that process, which is going to be heating up that pavement and then recompacting it. And then a few weeks later, there's another company coming in that's going to repave it. I did see the representatives from that paving company out there last week with Mr. Haywood. So it appears that everything is on board and that we're going to get rid of some of the flooding problems out there. But we're still a few weeks away.
We won't believe it until we see the
I know. Listen, the first rainstorm, I'm heading to her house. Okay, that's just the update on that. Okay.
Alan,
Yes.
I don't know if you know this, the paving project starting tomorrow is been delayed, pushed till Thursday.
Because of rain, that's okay. Yeah, I spoke with Steve, that's okay, that's fine. I have, before we go to our bills, I gotta find it. We have, do you mind, 8th, 10th Avenue? I added 8th, 10th Avenue onto the agenda because I got a call that the certificate of...
Here it is.
The certificate of compliance that we signed referenced the wrong book and page. So research at the office, the admin was correct. The applicant's engineer put the wrong book and page on it. So I've asked to be on the agenda so that we can get it signed so that they can pass papers on that property. So I'm going to be looking for a motion to approve the amended certificate of compliance for 8th, 10th Avenue. I'll make the motion if somebody wants to second it.
Yep.
Okay, I'll make the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Ed's second. Go to a roll call vote. Ed?
Yes.
Alan, yes. Paul?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Yes.
Signature on page 3.
Okay, good night. Thank you.
Nice. We should have a party on their lawn once this starts.
Okay, I lost my little cheat sheet here. I got,
We got bills.
no, there was 2 other things. Training.
Oh, yeah, training, board training.
Yeah, we can do the bills first. I got my cheat sheet.
It's only one bill to be paid.
Let's go to bills while I find it. I'd be,
Be looking for.
we have one bill for ecosystems. No, I have a pink piece of paper. It was on my front of my agenda that I misplaced already. That had, I might have put it in here. It was 8th, 10th Avenue. Well, let's go to the bills while I look at it. We have a bill for ecosystems for 111 River Street, the NOI. That bill amount is $4,125. I would be looking for a motion to pay that bill.
I put a motion that we pay the bills for 111 River Street of $41.25.
Second?
Second.
Paul, can I have a second? Okay, I'm going to go to a roll call vote. Ed?
Yes.
Alan, yes. Paul?
Yes.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Oh, here it is, right there in front of me.
That's what you're looking for?
Yeah, it's sitting right in front of me. Paul, I'm going to have you sign that. Kimberly, we have 3 signatures, so I think we'll be fine with that. You don't have to come into the office or anything for that particular one.
Okay.
Okay. One thing that I do want to do, let's go to the meeting minutes. I'll get that back to you. We have the meeting minutes for September 10th.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody's got a chance to look at them. Ms. King, were you at that meeting?
Yes, she, tears. No, she was not.
Okay.
It was Paul,
Just
myself, and
look
you.
at the end. The only thing that I noticed on the meeting minutes was your adjournment time, and I think she added it. I sent it to her, it was 8:27. Did it say 8:46?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody got any other questions on the meeting minutes?
Nope.
Okay, I'd be I'd be looking for a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
I put a motion that we approve the meeting minutes for September 10th, 2024.
Second? Paul?
I second.
Okay, Paul, you want to? Okay, I'm sorry. Voice vote?
Yes.
Ed, yes. Alan, yes.
Yes.
Paul, yes. Kimberly?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I just
We have
want...
correspondence.
Yes, on the correspondence, did everybody get a...
I got a copy of it today.
Okay, I got I got a letter from the Central,
The Commonwealth Division, no, hold on.
let me just look at it.
Central Plymouth County Water. District.
Yeah, Central Plymouth County Water District Commission, and it was relative, did you get it, Ms. King? So I'm just gonna, for the public, it was a quick narrative that the City of Brockton, I guess, has gotten the Silver Lake water levels too low, which has affected some of the marine growth and annual migration of river herring to the Atlantic Ocean. And sent that to some town administrators and some Conservation Commission members in Plimpton, Halifax, and Kingston. And I thought that I would share that with the board, and I would probably going to share that with our Board of Selectmen. I'm not sure what we can do other than support them. If anybody's got any questions, I don't have many answers, but I just want to make sure we acknowledge that, and I'll forward that on to our board. Ms. King?
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
Could I please request you to also share with the Board of Health where our health agent is in a lot of communication with the water levels?
Yes.
With the city of Milford?
Yep, yes, I will. So I'll share that with the... Okay, I'll do that. I think we got it all. I just want to mention one other thing, is the training update. As you know, we're all required to do some sort of training for our positions, but it's been kind of difficult to get on that website. I am also, with the board's consent, going to ask the admin if we've got enough funds that every one of us should have a Wetlands Protection Act regulation, the newest one. It was come out last year. And there is some DEP guidance manuals that we can get from the state bookstore. And I think that all of us should have a handbook with all of our stormwater regulations. And I got one with abbreviations and all that stuff. That's what I use to refer to. I don't know that anybody would object to that. I haven't found anything in the office for a booklet or a pamphlet that new members or even the older members can go to look at a regulation. So I don't think I need a vote. I just want a general consensus that as part of our training, we should all have some sort of a booklet.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Do we have to get some approval to get the money to buy those books?
I'm going to put the request in and see where it falls.
Okay.
All right, it's not very much. The state bookstore, I think one book is $14. One book is $13.15, the other book is $2.45. Those are wetlands protection books. The town bylaws, I'm not sure at this point who would provide them to us. We might have to print them and download them and get them in, but I think we should be able to have a booklet for that. Okay. Hold on. Did I see? I just pulled out a letter regarding groundwater, but that issue has been resolved. Okay. being no other business in front of the board, I would be, oh, I'm sorry. There's one other thing that we got a flyer in from Ms. King that she wants everybody to know about, and it's basically on the wonderful world of wastewater. Kimberly, I'm gonna have you explain this.
It's just a seminar on how the wastewater and groundwater work together and how the wastewater really isn't polluting the groundwater, how all the facilities work. And I just found it interesting and asked Katie to share it in case anyone from the board or the public would be interested in attending.
Okay, it appears to be a free seminar. I have no idea where Civil, I have no idea where it is.
The date is on.
Oh, this is put on by New Wiki. I am familiar with New Wiki because they do all the training for all of our Title V stuff for certifications and inspectional services. But it doesn't say where this is. Is it a virtual one?
Here's the information.
I don't.
To the
What's
best
that
of my
cert
knowledge, we're doing in-person and virtual, and they're such a great training agency and so well respected that I thought it would be beneficial for those who may or may not want to learn more.
Okay. If you don't mind, I can double check, but the other board members, you'd have to go on New Wiki's website to see where it is. If this is you got one, I don't know what that is though, the SVT, I don't know what that is, auditorium.
Must be somewhere, auditorium somewhere.
Yeah, see, but they're up in Lowell, Mass. So I think what you're gonna have to do is go on their website. It's pretty easy to get to, as long as you're going to New Wiki. They do all the training for Massachusetts for sanitarians, soil evaluators, system inspectors. They are a great organization, so if you find out any more information, you can share it with us, or they can Google this New Wiki and see where it's at. Did I miss anything?
Yes.
I did. Did I miss something, Ms. King?
No, I said yes, but I know what I'm happy to share the date.
Okay, good. In the training and policy from the Board of Selectmen, I'm just gonna I'll send a memo. I did talk to Caesar the other day saying it was a little difficult to get on. We'll follow that up. Technically, new appointments have 1 year to comply with section 1.2, which is the orientation for new conservation members, and the fundamentals of conservation commissioners. So we'll follow that up to see if we can somehow get on the website. Based on that, I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
I put a motion that we adjourn for the evening.
Okay, it being 8:42. 8:42. I got a motion by Mr. Lane. We have a second? Who wants to leave? Okay, Ms. King's second. Want to go to a roll call vote?
Yes.
Ed, yes. Alan, yes.
Yes.
Paul, yes. Ms. King? Yes. You got 5 to go. Thank you so much. You know?
Have a good one. Hey, we got 4 minutes shorter than the last meeting.